CBS6 Sports with Doug Sherman.
And welcome to our late Tuesday sportscast from CBS6. An election day tradition for many, many years in the city of Schenectady was the football game played between Linton and Mount Pleasant. It was so big that both General Electric and Alco shut down operations early so their employees could attend. But Linton and Mount Pleasant didn't have the calendar to themselves. Albany High and Albany Academy also used to play football on Election Day at Old Hawkins Stadium in Menands. With permission, of course, grammar school students back in the day could get a half day to attend the big rivalry game. An Election Day tradition that remains the Section 2 Girls Volleyball Championships, and tradition seems to dictate that Burnt Hills Ballston Lake is in the finals every year. In fact, the Spartans came in having won 12 championships in a row. This year, it was Niskayuna trying to wreck one of the most impressive streaks in Section 2, and Silver Warriors senior Deanna Whitmore had an obvious impact. But no player made a bigger difference than Kelly Waters. The 6'2 junior led the Spartans with 17 kills. The HBL won the first two sets 25-13. Natalie Sherman added 13 kills and 8 digs. Burnt Hills rallied to win the third set 25-16. And in a sweep, the Spartans win their 13th straight Section 2 title. It's their 20th such championship since 1991.
Yes, we've been very fortunate in our program to win 13 in a row, but this is the first one for this team. They worked so hard year-round. I'm so proud of them, the way they came out and beat a very good Niskayuna team in this final.
Well, it's really awesome. I mean, it's always a great feeling to win a championship, and it's a team win, obviously, and we all worked really hard to get here.
It's amazing. I mean, being on this team for 5 years, every year, it's just such a different team, and it's so great that as a team, when you win something like this, it's the first time this team has done it, so it's really exciting to end on one.
Meanwhile, the Shenendehowa girls won their 5th straight Section 2 large school volleyball championship by beating Bethlehem. Pay very close attention so as not to be confused. The Charlotte Hornets, who used to be the Charlotte Bobcats, tonight visited the New Orleans Pelicans, who used to be the New Orleans Hornets, who used to be the Charlotte Hornets. Got it? Well, Jimmer Fredette, after a DNP coach's decision on Monday, was right in the middle of all that confusion in the Big Easy tonight. Jimmer played 14 minutes without taking a shot as he and the Pelicans beat the Hornets. The Knicks hosted the Washington Wizards. Carmelo Anthony scored a game-high 18, but it came in another tough shooting night. Melo was 8 for 23. New York made just 37% from the floor. Paul Pierce, ex-Celtic, ex-Net, scored 17. The Wizards win. The real highlight, Siena graduate Tay Firefly Fisher, part of the entertainment at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks could have used Tay and his Harlem Globetrotters teammates. After being a healthy scratch for Detroit's first 10 games this NHL season, Brian Lashoff made his 2014 debut Sunday in Buffalo. And tonight, the 24-year-old defenseman from East Greenbush was back on the ice for the Red Wings, who lost in Ottawa. And Union College grad Josh Joris assisted on the game-winning goal in overtime for Calgary. When you sweep the second-ranked team in the country, you tend to get noticed. And that is what has happened for RPI's Jason Kasdorf, named ECAC Goaltender of the Week. After missing most of last season with a shoulder injury, Kasdorf, drafted by the Winnipeg Jets in 2011, seems to be back to the form which earned him ECAC Rookie of the Year as a freshman. Now, the league's Player of the Week is Riley Bourbonnais, the RPI sophomore out of Greece Athena High School in Rochester, registered a hat trick in Friday's 6-1 win over Union. They were his first 3 goals as an Engineer. As a freshman, Bourbonnais appeared in only 9 games, but now it appears his time has arrived.
You know, Riley was recruited here to be an offensive producer for us. He produced points all his life. He scored a lot in midget, he scored a lot in prep school, he scored a lot in juniors. You know, he had a tough year last year, but that happens in your freshman year, and we've seen glimpses of it so far this year. In practice, we saw it a lot, saw it in the exhibition game, but at the end of the day, you know, he needed to keep growing up and be able to deliver in this moment, and he did.
Yeah, we got high spirits right now. I mean, we are on like a 4 or 5 game losing streak, so it's a good turning point in the season. So hopefully we can get things going and keep it going.
Bourbonnais and the Engineers host Harvard on Friday, and then Dartmouth comes to Troy on Saturday. Meanwhile, Union center Mike Vecchione has been named ECAC Player of the Month. The sophomore from Saugus, Massachusetts, led the nation in scoring in October, compiling 12 points on 7 goals and 5 assists. The 8th-ranked Dutchmen host Dartmouth Friday and then host Harvard on Saturday. Jimmy Patsos and his Siena basketball team will be in the stands at Mesa Rink on Friday, rooting for his buddy, Union head coach Rick Bennett. Patsos, who grew up in Boston rooting for the Bruins, has struck up a friendship with Bennett since being hired at Siena. But he's not the only hockey fan on the Saints roster. Turns out South Jersey native Rob Poole follows the Flyers and, when possible, attends Stanley Cup playoff games in Philly. And Ryan Oliver, who grew up in Southern California, fancies himself a fan of the L.A. Kings. And on Friday night, count the Saints among the puckheads who will be rooting for the Dutchmen at Union. The Siena baseball program has landed another local recruit. Maple Hill senior Tommy Miller will sign his letter of intent 1 week from tomorrow. The 7th-ranked St. Rose women's soccer team has reached the Northeast 10 Conference semifinals with a 2-0 victory. And finally, former Tri-City Valley Cats left-hander Dallas Keuchel of the Houston Astros has won the American League Gold Glove Award for pitchers. That's it in sports. We'll see you again on Wednesday.